reflection of the moon at night on the sea, on the Dead Sea. So they thought that there were two moons, and that's why they called it Qumran or Qumran. But in here, we are visiting the place where they discovered the scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls. One of the most important discovery of the 20th century was that all of a sudden, found by accident, copies of the Bible written 2,000 years ago between the time, also during the time of Jesus. When they first came here, it was first excavated by a man called and his team when they started the excavation in 1947. The story starts by an accident that a shepherd found here a cave, and that cave was found when he lost one of his sheep or his goat. He did not go inside the cave, but he threw a stone inside the cave, and the secret was revealed. It was found. What was that secret? It was the Dead Sea Scroll. Now, I'm going to be asking you to come close to me. Maybe some of the books will pass from here. During the archaeological excavation, when they started the digging, they found a village, and we are standing inside that village. In that village, we discovered many things that they belonged to those villagers, the people who were known as the Essenes, or the community called the Yachad. This is where they leave everything in Jerusalem, and they came to live here. And then when they came to live here, they had their own village. They were all a community of men. There was no woman with them. In that community, or in this place, we discovered something like this called a ritual bath. A ritual bath, we have talked about it yesterday. If you remember, we were in the Herodian and we saw an example of a ritual bath, and I told you that's the worst example of a ritual bath because simply of the destruction that happens in that place. But here, we can find a ritual bath, and you can take an example and see an example. After those steps, you will go inside the water, and you go from one side and you leave from the other side, which you are already purified, and you're careful not to touch any unpurified object. But to go inside the water and to immerse yourself inside the ritual bath,
Folks, as you pass
literally by this route and look on the left-hand side, where we are standing, we have several examples, of course, around this area here. We should see more of those pictures, and especially what the temple. You see, the temple area in Jerusalem has something like 50 mikvahs around the area, 50 ritual baths. That was interesting to see those among the ritual baths in those days. The other thing is that if you turn around, you will see also some of the caves. In those caves, we are talking about 11 caves they were found during the excavations and the diggings. Those caves that you see them up on top there's one cave. Can you see the bigger one? A little bit down to the right there's another cave, and then another one to the right up there, another cave. We are talking about 11 caves that they were found here. Some of those caves some of those caves get hard to reach from that point. Now, many of those caves, of course, to go outside a cave and to start their excavations, it's a big problem, it's a big issue. Why? Because none of those caves were found easy to enter in those days. So that's why they need to come with a light to go inside those caves. And this is what happened with that shepherd. He entered some of those caves with that light, and then he found 8 jars. 6 of those jars were broken, and only 2 jars were in good condition. One jar was found empty, and in one of the other jars it was a scroll. This is why the authors of the story say that the secret was revealed. Why do we call it the secret was revealed? Why is it a secret? Such a community, they were written about during the book of Josephus Fabius in the 1st century, and they discovered at that time that a community existed. But what were they doing here? We don't know. Until 2,000 years ago, that secret was found when we found here the scrolls. So they were hiding those scrolls. They didn't want anyone to come and to touch these scrolls, and that was a very important thing. It was like having gold and diamonds in their hands. Today we have this archaeological diggings here and some of the excavations that we found, and this belongs to that 1st century when the Essenes were living here. So we go a bit through the village now here, and we go to one important cave, which is cave number 4. This way. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free. Yeah, pretty much just that.